So I think some of you know, I used to work as a nurse doing wound care, and then I also worked in a lockdown like dementia unit. It's been my whole experience. But anyway, I wanted to share with you guys one of the like highlights of my career as a nurse. So I was working on the lockdown dementia unit, and we had just gotten done with lunch. I was helping clean up like all the trays and things like that. And there was this one gentleman who, you know, lived there, and he was sitting there, and I was like cleaning up his tray, and he was like, "You're a good woman." I was like, "Oh, thank you." And he goes, "They just don't make them. They don't make them like they used to anymore, like you." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." And then he goes, "Do you think if I give your dad a horse, he would let you marry me?" And I just looked at him and I was like, "I don't know. One horse? You think I'm only worth one horse?" And he sits back in his chair and he sighs real big and he's like, "Yeah, one horse. Let's just not joke around. You're not worth two." Hey guys, thanks for coming back to check out another video. It has been a morning. I think I've like tried to film this like 4 times now. So anyway, what are we gonna do today? I have seen multiple people doing this, so I don't know like who to credit, and I've also seen videos that are dated like a year to 2 years ago. So the last person that I saw do this was Steph. I'm gonna link her channel and her video down below, and then if I like find any other people, like I'll also link them in the description box for your viewing pleasure. But I am here today to bring you my top favorite, my top 5, my 5 fall palettes that I have in my collection that I'm really excited to get to pull out and use more now that we are in the fall season. It's official. I have declared it. It's happening. It's now. So like I said, I don't know who to credit with this, credit this idea to, but I will have people linked down below, and let's just not ramble any further and get right on into it. Okay, so these palettes are in like no particular order. Like it's not like a ranking video. It's just a, here's what I have that I'm really excited to use for the fall season. So the first one is the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette. Now, this is a contender for my winter seasonal pan that palette. I think this is just one of those palettes where it's a good like standard neutral palette. Like it is a naked palette, but since it's golden toned, like it really needs to be loved this time of year, in my opinion. And I know that in my what should I pan in 2021 video, I said like, I'm kind of hesitant, like would I get bored with this? Are the tones too similar? Blah, blah, blah. So as I have pulled that out more, because I know that video just went live for you guys, but it was filmed like August 20th. So it's been sitting in the queue for a while. Anyway, I have pulled this out to like play around with it and things like that, and the more that I pull it out, the more that I do find there is a lot more depth and variety to this palette than I originally thought. I really love these matte shades and how just the undertones of them, they're different and you can get like different looks with them, but everything plays really nicely together. So like I think you can see there in the swatches, like those 2 browns look very similar in the pan, but one is more of like a golden like Dijon mustard red kind of brown, and then this one is more of like a neutral kind of yellow brown, and then this gold shimmer. I just absolutely love it. It's the shade Golden. So I have been loving reaching for this palette. I don't, however, think that it'll be the one that I pan, just because I do feel like the color story is better suited for like a summer fall time instead of like a winter time. I do consider this like an all year round palette, at least for me, but especially one to love during the fall. So sneak peek on that thought process. But all right, the next palette is the Saharan by Juvia's Place. So let's open this up. I really love this. And yes, I'm missing the Wodabi shade. I have yet to glue in my replacement shade for this, but I'm getting there. It's the reds in here that really make me think of this as a fall palette, but also I think pink is like an underrated fall color. Like I think pinks, cause like at least where I live in the fall time, like the sunset, it's very like purple and orange and pink and just really pretty. And even sometimes when the light catches the leaves just right, like the ones that have changed red already, they can look like a little pink. So I've always felt like pink is a fall color. So that's why I'm more excited to like pull this palette out. But these reds, the pinks, even this blue. It's just such a pretty palette. And now I will say, the mattes in here are a little dry, which I think we all know that's just kind of to be expected with Juvia's Place mattes. They're not like terrible, but it's really their shimmers that they are known for, in my opinion. And I just cannot get over this Kia shade right here from the palette. It's so pretty and like interesting when the light catches it. Like it looks a lot darker in the pan than it does on your eyes. So I'm really excited to pull that one out more. And then that pink shade Fula is just, I think that's my favorite pink shade in the whole palette. It's kind of bubblegummy, but again, I think paired with like maybe some nice like oranges or browns, things like that, like it could be a really pretty fall time look. Also just doing these two together, not as like a two and done look, but maybe like the Kia shade in the like outer corner and then the Fula shade on the lid. I think that could be so pretty. So another fall palette that I'm excited to reach for. All right, this next one, it's also in my, it's like a contender to be panned in the winter, but I do think some of the tones in here, this is one of those palettes that it's like, it's a good fall winter, like, could I pan this for 6 months if I started in the fall and carried it through the winter? I think so. And the more I play with it, the more I just absolutely have fallen in love with it. But it's the ABH Jackie Aina palette. So I think you can see like, yeah, there's a lot of good shades in there for like winter, but there's also the pinks, like I said, underrated fall color. And then the like matte browns, they're those nice, like kind of not dull, but you know, like everything in the fall just gets kind of like more brown and more like those kind of tones as everything starts to like die off. At least that's how I look at it. So, but I really do love the formula of this palette a lot more than any of the other like ABH palettes that I have owned. I think that this one, it's a little bit like better. I don't find the mattes in here to be like as scratchy as like other ABH palettes that I've played with in the past. And the shimmers are really nice. They go on so smoothly, but there it is. This shade Sponsored here in the middle. Ooh, with this shade, this was pinker. Wouldn't that just be like a pretty like two and done look? Crease lid. So pretty, so fall appropriate. But I am still considering painting this in the winter of 2021 because I do, like I said, it's just one of those great palettes that is like fall and winter in my opinion. My hand's getting all red from having to like wipe off the swatches. Excuse that. So I'm sure a lot of people would add Subculture into their favorite fall palettes, at least those of us who like Subculture, and I do like Subculture. I'm panning that right now. However, this palette is like better made, like just the quality of it is better, and so it beats out Subculture time and time again in my book. But it's the Uma Beauty Black Magic Allure palette, and it does scream Subculture. Like it gives me Subculture vibes, but the mattes in here are so nice to work with. Like, no, the darker ones do take a little bit of extra effort, but that's just darker shadows. Like I think we can all agree they just take a little bit of extra effort no matter what your formula is. But everything in here is just so well put together. Like this is a palette where there's like no mistakes that you could make, you know? Everything is just that well thought out that like even these pinks go with like the greens and the yellows. Like it's just so well thought out, such a good formula. I absolutely enjoy this palette. I cannot rave about it enough. It is in my Pan Those eyeshadows right now, and the shimmers in here have like an interesting texture. Like they do feel almost like kind of like a glitter, but I haven't been able to find anywhere that they are like a glitter. And then this shade right here, Allure, is like everything that Electric from Subculture wants to be. So let's swatch these out. And then this bottom shade, Mystical, is the one that's in my Pan Those eyeshadows right now. I just absolutely, these green tones, I think Steph said it too, like green, grunge, things like that. It just screams fall to me, but oh, that is just so beautiful. Even just that as like a little trio would be so pretty. So see, like I said, I think that that pink shade, which is Romantic, really goes well with like the green. So I definitely love this palette, and I'm happy that it is currently in my Pan Those eyeshadows, and I'm getting to get a lot of use out of it that way. All right, the last palette is also in my Pan Those eyeshadows. I'm gonna leave that linked above and down below for you guys so you can see it, but I have like so many greens that I'm working on right now, and I'm so thrilled because that has just been the color that I have been loving. Just, you know, that's just what I've been into. I know today I'm wearing like a very neutral look, but normally it's been a lot of grunge and a lot of greens. So let me just quit waving this palette around and tell you that my final pick from my stash of my favorite like fall palettes that I can't wait to bust out is the Kaleidos Sci-Fi Green, the Futurism 1 palette. Now these palettes are only 6 pans, but I think that within a 6-pan palette, they have accomplished a very like well put together color story, and there's a lot of interesting things that you could do with these shades. I absolutely love the Kaleidos matte formula. It is such a like buttery smooth, like easy to work with, easy to blend kind of formula. It just they're really like soft feeling in the pan, but not like in a crumbly or like powdery way like with ABH or some of those types of formulas. But they feel very they feel very soft and smooth. Those two words got jumbled together in my head. So, and I absolutely love the shimmers in here. Like I said, the shimmers almost have like this wet kind of feel to them. I don't know, it's just very interesting. It's a formula that I've definitely fallen in love with. If you know, are looking for something of this color story, I can't rave enough about these. And so let's show you some swatches. So there's 3 right there. And again, like this shade, everything that electric aspires to be. And another reason I like this palette so much is that I had my eye on the Melt Cosmetics Gemini palette for a really long time, but I heard that the Melt Cosmetics formula is like kind of difficult to work with, like not for everyone. Like their shimmer shadows can be a bit flaky, and at $58 I'm like, I'm not about to invest in something if I don't, you know, if I'm not like totally sure I'm gonna like it. So then when I saw this, I thought this has all the shades in it that I want, that I'm drawn to from the Gemini palette. So, and this has been like, I've just fallen in love with this, so I'm really happy that I went with this one as opposed to the Gemini palette. So, but if you are in the same boat as me and you've been like lusting over the Gemini palette but kind of hesitant to pull the trigger, maybe look into that as an option. So, but again, that is it. You know, I want to hear from you guys. What are your fall palettes that are in your collection that you are just gonna show a lot of love to this season? And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Sorry if I seem a little spacey. I'm getting kind of hangry, so I'm gonna go eat. And I hope you guys are having a good day or a good night or a good whatever, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.